From Acts chapter 16. Paul and his companions traveled through the region of Phrygia and Galatia. They'd been prevented by the Holy Spirit from preaching the word in the province of Asia. They came to the border of Mysia. They tried to enter Bithynia, but the Spirit of Jesus would not allow them to do so. So they passed by and went down to Troas. During the night, Paul had a vision of a man of Macedonia standing and begging him, "Come over to us and help us." After Paul had the vision, we got ready to leave at once, concluding that God had called us to preach the gospel to them. Dear friends, this is the word of the Lord. May God send his Holy Spirit to bless it to our hearts as we gather in his name today. Please be seated. In our passage today, I think it's pretty clear, pretty evident what is happening. The Apostle Paul and his companions, they're journeying in Turkey, basically what we know as Turkey today, and they're looking for a place to be in ministry. And they're not led to this point, and something prevents them from going to this place, but they have a pent-up desire to act on God's behalf. And one night, Paul has a dream, and a man from Macedonia, which is an area in Greece, is saying, "Come to us, come minister to us." And so they get up and go. Today, as you consider the presentation that we have for you, I want you to be thinking about a couple of things. First of all, are you, as a child of God, praying regularly about what God wants you to do, about what you're involved in, about who you're involved with, about you being about his work? Secondly, is it possible that sometimes God calls churches and invites them to exercise their potential to be in mission in a great way? And as we talk a little bit today about Nicaragua, I just invite you to look inside and listen and hear if you sense these people beckoning you, calling to you, as Paul heard the folks from Macedonia. Today we're talking about an opportunity in international missions. And I want to begin by saying, as we hold this up, this is not everything that we're doing in our church, we're going to continue to do. We're not stopping our Russia work. We're not stopping any of the things that we're doing. We're involved in about 30 local things, and those are all very important. But over the last few years, our international missions have shrunk. They've waned for a couple of reasons. Number one has to do with the economy and the tremendous expense of going on some of these trips. And the other thing that you should know is that we have run into some logistical problems with some of the places that we've been. Sometimes the groups we were working with weren't very forthcoming about what was really going on. And so it's hard to feel like you have an open and a fair relationship when folks won't answer your questions. Sometimes our missions efforts kind of turned into somebody in a faraway country really just wanted us to take them blue jeans. But a lot of our international efforts boiled down to problems with distance. So little by little, we began pulling back from some of these, and we started looking for a place that we could be involved in sort of comprehensively, a village that our church might adopt so that over time we could find lots of different ways to be involved. When we started looking for a village, there were a number of things that we were concerned about, a number of criteria, because as a leader in your church, when we talk to you about things, we want you to feel like we've done due diligence, that we know the answers to the questions, and that we feel good about the things that we're looking at. The first thing we wanted was a heartfelt connection with the people. We wanted this to present the opportunity for Terry McCarty and Don Jackson and Susan Jackson and the human beings that attend this church to get to know the human beings that live in this other place. Not just goods shared, but love shared. Secondly, we wanted to know that there was a clear need, that we weren't just providing blue jeans to somebody that didn't have blue jeans or tennis shoes, but that there were opportunities for us to make a significant difference in the lives of someone else. We wanted to work with a trusted organization, a group that's been around for a while, that's tested and tried, the kind of place where their books are open, where they believe in full disclosure, that they had a system that worked. We wanted to work with an organization that is not offended by our questions. And as you can imagine, our staff, we have a lot of questions. I mean, you've hired very smart people, and we have lots of questions for people. We wanted to work with a place that had a positive culture, where the employees that worked there loved what they were doing. And we also wanted to work with a place where the leaders that we were connected with weren't in Nashville or New York City, but we had the chance to get to know them and be involved in them personally. Also, when we think about our church, we wanted an opportunity that was many-layered, that could involve cross-generational opportunities for us so that children, youth, and adults could be involved, and that it wasn't just about expensive trips, but there were ways that for $2.50 you could make the price of a chicken be affordable to someone who in their life would never have been able to afford a chicken. We wanted a village that was in our time zone. We didn't want to deal with jet lag or expensive flights to other hemispheres. Just to give you a picture of this, a trip to Mozambique is over $4,000. A trip to Russia is a little over $3,000. The trip to Nicaragua is about $1,500. Finally, we wanted to know that you would be safe, and that if you went there, you would be working with an organization that had an emergency plan and a health plan just in case there was a problem. But ultimately, we're looking for a relationship between our congregation and a village. We've been looking for about a year. We've been talking for about a year for a way to be connected, for a way to take our international missions up a step. We've looked at various organizations. We've looked at various countries. Kind of coincidentally, I got a LinkedIn request from a guy at the Rainbow Network. We've known of the Rainbow Network. They were sort of on our short list, and so we had them come up, and we sat out here in the foyer, about 8 of us, with Matthew Innes, the director of the Rainbow Network, and we listened to him talk about the needs in Nicaragua, and our hearts were touched by what we heard and saw there, so we decided to go down for a visit. The first week of April, the day after Easter, imagine that. Myself, Sherry Swanson, Gina Harris, and Jeff Baker from the conference office flew to Atlanta, 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then to Nicaragua, 3 hours and 15 minutes, and we got to know the Rainbow Network and the village of Los Pinos. The Rainbow Network has divided Nicaragua into 7 regions, and they work in each of these regions. They work in 120 villages in 5 areas: nutrition, education, housing, microlending, and health. As far as nutrition goes, here's some things that we can do to help these people. Much of what they are eating today is provided by the government and what the Rainbow Network is already doing. We can provide better nutrition for everyone in this village. Not just by sending money, we can send food in containers, we can make chickens and pigs more affordable for them. In education, education in the village is through the 4th grade. Anybody that wants to go on to high school needs a sponsor. We talked to them about college, and while we think of college as a great opportunity for our young people, they don't have a paradigm in their village of how to figure that out. And one of the things I would love to do is figure out some way for some of their young people to actually go to college. If you're a teacher, there would be an opportunity for you to go and teach in the school. They'd love to hear stories about America from our teachers. They have a microlending program in which an amount of money is divided up among people in the village that have shown proven ability to be responsible. They don't make these loans to people that waste the money. The group in each village is about 10 people, and they'll get $100 or $200 every 6 months to build their business, whether it was raising chickens or pigs or running a little store. A lot of them made hammocks. And it wasn't until I came back that I realized what the hammock thing is about. A hammock is a cheap way to keep people off the dirt floor. And if you're not sleeping on the dirt floor, the things that come in at the night don't get to crawl on you. So there are lots of different business things. Interestingly enough, if 10 of us are in this microlending program and Dave Templeman doesn't pay his back that 6 month, the other 9 of us have to cover his loan. So they have a very high payback ratio. And the wonderful thing about microlending is it helps the people, they become entrepreneurs. And it doesn't just raise their standard of living, but it helps them help other people in their village. As far as health goes, besides sending drugs and nurses and doctors and dentists, there are room for physical therapists and occupational therapists, respiratory therapists. They have a lot of lung issues because they breathe a lot of smoke from being inside the where they live. The kitchen's a little open fire in the corner. Something that I thought was interesting, their doctors there in the Rainbow Network, they make $6,000 a year. They have no opportunity for continuing education. So when we send doctors and nurses down there, their doctors and nurses get smarter and they learn. In housing, you'll see that these people live in very primitive homes, sticks and mud with corrugated metal roofs, lots of holes, it's pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful. Other places that I've been on mission trips, we drove past places like this. These families welcomed us into their homes and showed us how they live, and it's just hard to fathom that we have so much and they have so little. The Rainbow Network works not only to repair their homes that are constantly being washed away and blown away, but also to help get them into new concrete homes with concrete floors and cinder block walls. Over the past 20 years, the Rainbow Network has built over 800 homes. So that's a little bit of some facts, some information. We have a video that we've prepared that tells you about our specific trip, so let's take a watch.
Hi, my name is Gina Harris. One of the things that touched me the most is how the people of Los Pinos live. The houses are made of sticks and mud with thin sheets of tin as the roof. The floors are dirt. In the rainy season, the floors are mud. As you enter the house, there will be a partition, sort of like a curtain, that separates the living space from the bedroom. The living space sometimes has a bench or a table, sometimes a chicken or two. Occasionally, we would see barbed wire strung across the ceiling with a change or two of clothes hanging from it. Sometimes we did not see a change of clothes in the house. There were no closets, so if we didn't see clothes, that family had only the clothes they were wearing. We saw almost no toys. A couple of homes had stuffed animals hanging like prized possessions, but for the most part, the children played with sticks. There was one bedroom in each house. Maybe 7 people would all sleep in the same small bedroom. This bedroom had one more twin-sized bed behind me. I could not figure out how 7 people could possibly sleep in this room. The clothes and other items you see in this picture are all of the personal belongings of 7 people. Do you see the holes in the walls? Snakes and scorpions are known to enter the house through those holes. The beds were made from wood. Sometimes the mattress is really just branches covered with fabric. The third and final room in the house is the kitchen. There's no electricity, so they cook over an open flame. Can you see the smoke in the picture? Even though there is space between the slats and the walls, the smoke does not entirely vent from the house. One of the biggest health issues the community faces is respiratory problems related to breathing the smoke from their kitchens. So they're making their children sick in order to feed them. Notice that there is no sink in this kitchen. The people of Los Pinos get water from a pump by the community building and carry it to their house in a bucket. The water needs to be treated in order to be safe for drinking. Sometimes they treat it, but sometimes they can't. We were also able to see another community with newly constructed homes that were nearly completed, as well as an established community with homes that were built 10 years ago. The difference between these new homes and those in Los Pinos is amazing. It is a huge improvement in the standard of living. These houses are made from cinder blocks and have concrete floors. They have a front door and a back door, a front porch, and electricity. Homeowners are expected to plant fruit trees around their property to help feed their family. Inside the house, there's still a living space and a single bedroom, but the floors are concrete and the walls are solid, so living conditions are more sanitary. The families decorate their homes with pictures. We even saw a refrigerator in one home and a TV in another. The kitchen is moved outside the house in order to avoid the respiratory illnesses caused by breathing smoke from cooking fires. This is the kitchen from an established community. In fact, it's the nicest kitchen we saw. You may be wondering how these families can afford the amenities and decorations you see. Anyone who receives a new home must agree to participate in the economic development plan that Sherry's going to explain next.
One thing that really touched my heart was the microloan program, because it gives the people of Nicaragua hope and an opportunity to improve the quality of their life. There are currently 10 families out of 77 in Los Pinos benefiting from microloans. Like we talked about earlier, each family has been given an opportunity to start a business out of their home. The income they earn is above and beyond the amount that they receive by working on the coffee farms during the winter months. During our visit, we were blessed to take part in 2 microloan ceremonies. The first ceremony was actually in Los Pinos. Victor here is the bank manager in Los Pinos. He's on the left-hand side. He's wearing the blue and white striped shirt. And the other gentleman on the far right with a crew cut and his hand on the table is Marvin. Marvin is in charge of the microloans for one of 7 networks of the Rainbow Network. We spent a lot of time with Marvin because he was not only our driver, but he was also our interpreter. He was a lot of fun and easy to talk to. Alba Lutz is here receiving her microloan. She's going to use the money to restore pictures as well as buy and sell pigs. This woman is receiving a loan to begin her business of making hot pork tamales. Ilanya is on her 4th cycle of microloans. She wants to improve her business, which is a small store that they call a potpourri. She also wants to purchase pigs and is one of the members of the loan committee in Los Pinos. Most of the people use the profit that they make from the microloan to improve their homes. This is Angela, who lives in San Pedro, which is an established housing project. She's raising chickens through her microloan program. This is her chicken coop behind her house. She's also built a kitchen with real walls in the front of her home. This is a family in another established community who has received a loan for their business of making hammocks. This is the main room in their home, and everyone in the family, including the children, help out in the business. They sell their hammocks at the market and even sell them in locations as far as Guatemala. We all bought hammocks from the families, and this is Jeff Baker from our conference office in the hammock that he purchased. The kids thought it would be fun to tie the hammock in between 2 of the trucks that we were traveling in and take his picture. Our final stop was to another established community where we took part in their microloan ceremony, which was located in the church. Jeff was honored to hand out the money to each one of the recipients. I cannot put into words how it touched my heart to see the joy in each person's face as they received their loan and they were given a chance to make their life better. They were all so grateful for their loan, and they promised before God and every single person in that room that they would repay their loan. Just watch as Ilana experiences this life-changing moment.
En mi caso, ¿verdad? Pues para la compra de cerdo.
In my case, I purchased pig,
Y me comprometo ante Dios
and I promised before
y
God
ante todo el grupo
and
acá presente,
before the
¿verdad?
whole group here
Pagar puntualmente,
to pay it on time,
pues y no quedar mal.
so that will be okay.
Gracias.
As I look back on our trip to Nicaragua, the thing that sticks in my mind and in my heart isn't the food or the education or the housing. It's the people. Because ultimately it's all about people, God's people. And the people that we saw in Nicaragua were the least of these. The welcome that we received at the village of Los Pinos was so joyful and happy. Folks that had nothing came out to greet us and meet us. They sat us down in their community building. It's the largest building in the village, really the only building. It's about the size of one of our Sunday school classrooms. They sat us down and celebrated us, and a young man sang a song for us, and a child brought around a bowl of fruit. And I thought I was supposed to take a piece of fruit, and it all looked very, it didn't look like what you'd pick up at the grocery store, but I selected a banana. And then it was explained to me that the entire bowl of fruit was for us. They weren't just giving us a treat. This is a gift from their village, this bowl of fruit. I remember how these people welcomed us into their homes of mud and sticks, their homes with dirt floors and chickens wandering through. I will never forget how many of them lined up to see the doctor when the clinic was open. The joy on the faces of the children who were eating in the nutrition center, and the hunger that continues to exist. We were in one setting, and a mother had a young boy with her. And while the meeting was going on, he was wandering around picking up pieces of chicken feed off of the dirt floor. And I think about how my children have never lacked for anything. I saw women that were wearing clothes that should have been replaced, dirty clothes. And I thought of the self-respect that my wife has, and you know how all the ladies in our culture want to look nice. In many of the homes that we were in, there was no change of clothes hanging over the barbed wire divider in the home. I don't know how many villages we were in, 6 maybe. They all kind of run together. But there was such a lack of things for the young people to do, for the children to do. We saw hundreds of children. I saw 1 baseball, 2 baseball gloves, 1 broken bat that they begged us to replace, and I think we were able to do that. A couple of bicycles. 1 young boy had a bicycle tire, and he would roll it around with a stick. All of those toys were in the more affluent villages, if you can call them that. We saw no toys whatsoever in the village of Los Pinos. I thought of the students that wouldn't be able to go to high school unless someone sponsored them, and what a difference an education can make in the life of a person. And as I thought of all those people, I thought of you, I thought of our people, and how big our hearts are, and of the potential that our church has to make a difference in the world. The last night before we left, the leader of the Rainbow Network in Nicaragua sat down with us, and there were 4 or 5 of us around a table back at the hotel. And he said to us through an interpreter, "The people at the village of Los Pinos were so glad that you came to visit. They want to know if you liked their village. They want to know if you will partner with them. They want to know if you will come back." And it kind of put me on the spot, because that's not my decision. I don't get to decide what all of you all will do. And I explained to them how our missions are based on what God lays on the hearts of our people. And that what happens is going to depend entirely on if God speaks to you. And he said, "Then what can the people do?" And I said, "Your people can pray that our presentation on April 21st will reach the hearts of our congregation." today I want you to know that 450 people in the village of Los Pinos are praying, that you will hear their call. Just as Paul heard the call of the man from Macedonia and went to help, this village is calling for your help. And I pray that by the power of the Holy Spirit, your heart will be touched and moved to reach out to these. Truly, they are Jesus' least of these. Thanks for listening. The last time I asked you as a congregation to pray about doing something together, it was to build this building. Thanks. It's done. It's great. Our attendance is up. Today we hold this opportunity out to you, and I just ask if we have the potential, if God would lay it on your heart to find some way to be involved, to partner at some level with the people of Los Pinos. Los Pinos means the pines. All over Nicaragua there's little scrub trees, but this village has pines, and so they named their village the Pines. And today they are praying for you. As Megan sings, we're going to take a few moments to pray, and if you'll look at the opportunities on your stub and consider making an indication. We're having an informational meeting this coming Tuesday night, and hand that to someone as you leave the building today.